I have less motivation than ever to get a job. I am starting to have that bum ass mindset. I'm not going to lie to you. Am I going to stick with it? No. But you know what I will say? I've learned over this process. I've been unemployed for almost 2 months now. And I'll be very frank with you. I've gone through phases of applying for jobs, but it's really, the more you are out of it, you realize how stupid this cycle of life we have created. Not the importance of having a job and everything it does for you and all that good stuff, the structure, the purpose. But that's the problem. Our purpose is destined based off what is offered us, not some we seek out in most cases. It really is this unnatural way of living. And I hate to be this ungrateful, pig out here, this bum. But I'm going to be honest with you, it's really hard to want to go back into that life. Because you're just doing it so you can pretend the dream of something bigger. You put some money aside to pursue one thing. It really is just this vicious cycle of, it just really ain't, it really ain't all that. We do have this glorification of homelessness, which is odd. I was watching some earlier where there's these people living in the Las Vegas tunnels. And a guy who went out there to interview them, and now people are profiting off their pain and shit, which is also another story for another day. And there is this, he was asked, in an interview, what percentage of them do you think are unhappy? He said, well, 100% of them are unhappy on a baseline level. And I would say, yeah, 100% of them are probably unhappy. And I think it's probably for different reasons than people think. Obviously, every situation is different. I will say that I think a lot of there is unhappiness to accept that this is it. Whatever your accepted state of that point in your life. And when you got to that point, you just accept this is it. But there's also a relieving factor of that. You kind of accept that high, aspirations of some are probably out the window. It's hard to get a job when you live in the tunnel. You just got to have tunnel vision. That's what they say. You just got to have tunnel vision and have a vision and all that good shit. I will say, not to get off top, but back to the point. I really see that it's really this 9-to-5 job cycle is. I understand why people feel insecure when people, they have this perception of how people perceive them for not having a job, being unemployed. There's this weird perception of it. I think a lot of that is a lot of people out of anger, man, I wish I could just quit my job. There is some, I wish I could quit my job, because there are people that can financially quit them job, but the perception of them potentially losing their inner circle, losing friends, losing a partner, losing respect from people they care about would dwindle, and that would be too much for them to handle. I think one thing about me, you have to be built different for this unemployed life, It's kind of a fucked up, they say, you will find ways to rationalize the way you live. You will find ways to rationalize your incompetency by putting somehow what you do on a pedestal and tearing down others. And I'm not doing that. What I am saying is, I think unemployment's not for everyone, man. It is interesting. You see a lot of people praise you at first, and then over time you start kind of seeing like how people really see you, how people really view you. A lot of people think you're just wasting your time doing X, Y, and Z, and that's okay. And that just comes with the territory. Yeah, I don't know why that was on my mind. You know, I just see a lot. We have this heavy obsession. We have this heavy intrigue with people getting laid off. I saw a video of this, this lady. She did a remote tech job. I just got to tell you, if you are remote, you are probably one of the easiest people to lay off. There's no barrier of entry. They just have to do a Zoom call, send you an email, say we have to talk, put all your severance in an email. Everything you need to access is online. You have to come to the office. There's no barrier of entry. So that's the thing people got to be careful of. Like, everyone wanted to work at home and remote and stuff, and that's all great and all. It also makes it where it's easier to fire your ass too, and not really have to have that real conflict. It's really hard to make your point over a Zoom call that someone just press the red button and it's over. Yeah, being a bum is great. I'm starting to understand why people are like, I understand, like, when you hear the people, like, I used to always be like, how are you unemployed for 6 months? It's not that hard. And look, it's for some of us, it's not that it's hard to get. Like, I could apply for a specific type of job next week and start in a week after. Like, you can always typically get something as long as, you can not shit your pants on the first day. But it's that, man, I enjoy living a life, but then you have to ask yourself, how much longer can I live this life? Funds run out. Then you start getting into the easy money hack, right? That you don't have time to think about when you are working all the time. Like, you start thinking, the stuff that you just do on your computer, you just do stocks, trading, multi-level marketing, selling. You start doing the stuff that's just all on a computer that you think just takes a couple hours. Like, I was going to start day trading today, for example, right? Because I had a friend tell me about it. And I woke up late. I was like, I'll probably start it tomorrow. I'm going to, really do more research, create an account, really put a decent amount of funds, or really get a good starting point, understand what the fuck I'm doing. And I went online today. I'm like, day trading, you think about what it is. You are basically manipulating stock, high this, sell, buy. You're like, something about this doesn't feel legal. I go online. Is day trading illegal? It says no, it's not illegal. But your account will be tracked, whether it's a day trading in, a long-term regular trading brokerage account. Not to get too in the weeds. And I'm not an expert. This is literally just some 30-minute, hour-long of looking around shit. The SEC identifies day trading as if you make X amount of, 4 to 5 transactions in a 5-day period. Basically, if you were to make a trade a day, put it in a stock and then sell it before that day ends, that day period ends, that's a day trade. If you were to put a stock in the beginning of the day, but then early the next day, it wouldn't be a technical day trade, but it's still marked as something, and blah, blah, blah. But to be marked as a day trading account, you have to have a minimum equity of $25,000 fucking dollars. And I'm like, this is the stuff your friends don't tell you. And I'm like, because what if I would have went out there, made a couple cool trades, like, oh man, I'm making a few $100s profit today. And then next thing you know, 4 days in, E-Trade is like, hey, we're freezing your account. It literally said they'll just freeze your fucking account. if you are monitored in this and they transition your account to another, but then you have to have a minimum amount of equity that you got to put into the account just to cover their hedges. It's like, oh, this is kind of weird. You got to have money just to even lose money, It's like, hey, can I just lose money like the rest of society? Put $5, think you're going to win 200, baby? Like, come on. And that's the thing, you start having too much, like, what are easy ways to make, like, you know what, if I just had the time to learn some stocks, why the fuck couldn't I? Then it's like, oh, you don't know shit. And what if you start gaining momentum, you start making money, and then they freeze your account, something out of your fucking control, and you don't have enough money to even start, boom. Because that would be the best. Like, honestly, if you were able to day trade the stock market, I don't even know if that's a legal job. Like, it feels like, honestly, there would be a lot of people doing this. And there's a good amount out there. You go find them. But it's not their only job, right? So it's almost like, okay. It shows like, it's almost like if you were a professional gambler. Like going to casinos and shit. Which also, by the way, like, that casinos are rigged and all this shit. Whatever. I've been watching this YouTube channel called, I think the name is Stephen Bridges. It's like this Australian guy. Him and his group of friends. He calls himself like card counters. Right? So, card counting is apparently illegal. Which is one of the dumbest things ever, because there's only so many cards in a deck. So by default, if you just play long enough, cards are going to run out in some of these games. It's not really card counting. Like, so am I just supposed to pretend I don't know these last 5 cards are going to either be queen, king, a 4, and all this shit? Like, am I just supposed to pretend that? But it's stupid, right? And now, look, I'm not a professional, so any professional card counters in there, wipe my ass with your queen. Your queen's known to do it like lips. The ace of spades, because AC, Dick, C. I'm such a fool. That was bad. But, highway to hell. But they are card counters. They go to what they do. So, and I know, I went to a casino one time. I don't know if I ever told the story, but quick story. On like literally the first 10 minutes, I did one of these big old this big old mega, you pull the thing down, the Wheel of Fortune, and I won over $800. I'm like, holy shit, bro. Like, that was like 2 weeks of pay working 50 hours a week at my job at the time, Like, I was like, holy shit. And guess what? I lost almost all of it the rest of the night. Because that's what they do. First of all, you sign up for a player card. And I was like, this is kind of odd. I've never heard of something like this. And now thinking about it, looking back, they have your ID and player card. So you keep track of your wins. And I think it's to keep track to see if you're losing the casino money, making money, track any weird activity type of shit. So not only that casino, you go, because all these casinos work together, because at the end of the day, they don't want people making money off of them, making them look like a fool. So these card counters, quote, they play like legitimate card games, and they'll go kind of like New Mexico, California. They try to avoid Vegas, but they do at times. Like they went to one in Louisiana. Like, they go all over, the country and stuff like that. And they try to, now they're at the point where they have to kind of like wear masks, wear makeup, keep their identity kind of on the down low to avoid being caught. But what very quickly is no matter where they go, at every like main card table, they have like a manager on top of the card dealer. And the card dealer is literally in charge of when they suspect someone is good at the game, they call them over for them to monitor, and then they start winning. They literally call them to the side and tell them that, and they literally tell them, I'm going to have to back you off, but you could play anything else in here. And they'll have them on these secret cameras that they're wearing. Yeah, look, you're just too good at this. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it's unreal. Like, they won't even be, like, hiding it. They're like, hey, my job is to, keep a business going. It's like, bruh, you're probably getting paid. Like, imagine working at a casino. And your job is to maintain the casino, making a shitload of money. And they're probably like, yeah, here's $60K. Like, I'm sorry. Unless you're paying me, some premium dollar, I'm letting these motherfuckers win. I'm sorry. And it's insane because there was an instance, this guy tried to cash out. They were already suspecting that he was good or whatever. He basically won like $4,000 or something, right? He was trying to cash out. They wouldn't let him cash out because he didn't have a player card, but legally they can't do that. A player card is really just, they ask you, but they can't really make you, and you don't have to really reveal your ID to get your money. Like, it's not technically the law if you won, but it's their policy they'll try to hide, but it's not really legal law. But it is insane. Like, it's transparent, blatant. These casinos, these gambling, no one is really going to win money there. Like, literally, if you just start winning money, that's a problem for them. And they can make all these excuses, make it a pain in the ass to pay you out. But if they were to manipulate you, rig the games for you and shit like that, you were to spend money you don't have, they're not giving that money back. They're going to kick your ass out and then ban you for X, Y, and Z. But they'll take your money. You bet your sweet bibbity.